Hey, back with another video. Today we're gonna do Charlie Kirk debates atheist on God's existence. Ooh, this might be good. I might really like this one. Let's go.
I've talked about patriot mobiles committed to faith.
Sorry, Charlie, I gotta skip ahead.
25, or called 97
videos for a long time. Been a big fan of yours. One thing I will say is that I have come out here not only because I turned conservative in about 2016 with Trump's first run. I've always also been a devout atheist, and I've been proud in my beliefs with that. I find the the Bible, to be a very fictitious book. I find that it has a lot of contradictions that are not squared away by anybody that finds it, that reads it. So I just want to know, one thing I want to get for you before we dive into that is, how can we get more people of different faiths to come to the conservative movement instead of, because a lot of what I see you is espousing on, Christian virtues and to a lesser extent Jewish, but I think that there could be a lot more that we could do with ideas rather than the beliefs of.
Before Charlie goes, I want people in the comments to do this for me, okay? Give me your best contradiction in the Bible, and I'm going to read the comments. And I'm going to respond to the contradictions, and I'm going to see something, because when I hear people give their contradictions, a lot of times they're not contradictions. They're actually misinterpretations their misinterpretation of the text. The Bible does say you got to read precept on precept, line upon line. And you have to be able to be well studied in it enough to connect the precepts and the line upon lines together. So some lines in the Bible could mean other lines in other sections of the book. There's connections that happen there that I think people misinterpret. And a lot of the contradictions end up being able to be explained. There are some that aren't, but there are some that, but a lot of them are able to be explained. But however, though, if there's any contradiction, can you trust what you're reading? I guess that's the big question, right?
Religion.
Let's start with the idea of atheism, if that's okay.
Sure.
I'm going to go through all of the arguments for God's existence.
Okay.
I want you to tell me if you've heard them before or if they are compelling.
Okay.
First is what's called the ontological argument for God, which ontos comes from the Greek. It's the Greek word for being.
Sure.
So the highest conception of human beings, we can only conceptualize that which is real. And so the highest conception of our own, combined wisdom is God. I think this is the weakest argument for God, to be perfectly honest.
Right, I would agree with you there, yeah.
Yeah, but it is a proof that an ontological view of God. The second of which is called the cosmological view of God, coming from the Greek word cosmos, which means all-encompassing creation. If you look around with creation, there are 15 fine-tuned measurements that if anyone went off by a micron, our entire existence would not exist. The tilt of the earth, our proximity to the sun, our configuration of oxygen to carbon dioxide. In fact, we can look at the probability of our existence. It's 1 in multiple trillions that all of this would come together at an exact time, let alone consciousness, let alone human beings, let alone our DNA.
Sure, I want to counter that with the fact that there are millions upon millions of galaxies with millions upon millions of their own stars, with millions and millions of their own planets. If we didn't, I don't think that if this Earth was not in this exact space as it exists now, I think that is also not compelling, because we would have found existence on in another location in the universe if it was.
Yeah, that is the argument against the cosmological argument, that you can find everywhere in the cosmos where life doesn't exist, and we just happen to be the one lucky thing that makes life exist. So we may just happen to be the exception to the rules. There may not be nothing ordained spiritually from our existence. However, though, the cosmological argument, I think, is the best argument for God, because if we were off even by a centimeter, we wouldn't exist, and our existence has caused really, it really hasn't caused anything. like not for the cosmos, but it's definitely caused. Actually, I don't have an answer to that one. What has our existence really caused, besides turmoil to the planet, or good to the planet? It's not all been turmoil, but let's just get it. But the cosmological argument, I think, is one of the best arguments for God, in my opinion.
It's not just in this.
I don't have enough faith to believe that, but let me continue on with it. Then there is what's called the teleological view.
I don't know if you guys understand what he just made a point about, but I don't have enough faith to be an atheist. Frank Turk has a book called "I Don't Have Enough Faith to Be an Atheist." I think he was giving a shout out to Frank Turk. Frank Turk is definitely a great debater when it comes to this topic, and he's good at it. He's good at unpacking atheist arguments. So I just wanted to throw that in there. I like that he gave a shout out to Frank Turk. I like Frank Turk.
argument for God. That comes from the Greek word telos, which means, we get the word telescope. It means goal, destination, or purpose. This here goes to an argument that for every cause, for every effect, there must be a cause. So, for example, we can agree that space, time, and matter exist. We agree.
Yes.
Therefore, definitionally, something that is outside of space, time, and matter must have made space, time, and matter exist.
Not necessarily. We can. There
then it's the laws of reason.
Not because there could always be a universe that existed before our Big Bang. It's not. We could have existed with space, but no matter in a very tiny point. That's what basically the Big Bang was. So I don't see how that disproves atheism. It's more atheism.
It does, because there's a law in the physics, Newton's first law. I think it's the first law of thermodynamics. An object cannot be set in motion without being upset by an outside force. The universe is consistently expanding. So because the universe is expanding, it had an origin point where it started. And if it started at an origin point, exploded into a point, something had to have caused that explosion that was outside space, time, and within reason, you could say that something could have been godlike that could have done that. Definitely, absolutely, I absolutely. Like, no, that is not that. That is. I take the cosmological argument back. That's probably the best argument for God.
This is more of a, I don't believe God exists. Why is this compelling?
Well, I'm going to go through two more proofs of God, and then we'll finish. Then there's what's called the Kalam proof of time, which is thanks to Albert Einstein, we know that time is actually a real thing, that it can be traversed with enough speed. And in order for time to exist, something timeless must have created it. Finally, there's something called the axiological view of God. I don't know if you know this one. Axios comes from the Greek word judgment. Axios and judgment mean the same thing, which basically means that every human being has some form of right and wrong embedded in us. For example, when the Nuremberg trials were happening, the Nazis were not able to say, well, it was just the laws of the land. They actually appealed to a higher power, saying that every one of us had some good or evil within us.
So that doesn't, that kind of disproves, right?
Everything he just said, they're all excellent arguments. The Einstein argument and the last argument, where there's good embedded in all of us. There's something that moved time into existence. But to be fair, right? To be fair to what the argument could be for the other guy, the atheist argument, he could make the argument, well, how do we know it's the JudeoChristian God specifically? How do we know, like, that's the actual God that created it? Why isn't it Zeus? Why isn't it Brahman? Why isn't it any of the gods, Krishna, any of the gods that have existed throughout history? Zoroastrianism, like they're Ahura Mazda, like those kind of gods, like that guy. Why wasn't it any of those? Why did it just happen to be the Judeo-Christian God? Would be the argument against all of those other things that he could fire back, but I don't think he understands those things. I don't know. Maybe he does. We'll see as we keep going.
If the Nazis were able to point to something outside of themselves and say, hey, this is the reason why we're doing this.
They didn't. No, the point is the Nazis didn't. Is that the people doing the trial did. Meaning the Nazis were not able to excuse that. Okay. So out of all those proofs of God, what if any of them are persuasive to you?
None.
Okay. So then if you look at a human being and you look at the improbability of our, how we are put together, do you believe that we are largely an accident of multi-billions of years of evolution?
Yes. How do we not know that how do we know that there isn't something that's identical to us on another planet somewhere that we haven't encountered yet? It's just a skeptic in me that's thinking that way. That says, hey, maybe there's something out there that we haven't contacted yet that is in another galaxy or another planet or something that we just don't know about.
Or maybe there isn't.
Okay.
So the improbability, though, of our existence and the Earth and oxygen and carbon and nitrogen and all of it together, you don't marvel at a human being being able to heal itself when it's cut or grow to a...
No, because we're not the only beings on Earth that can do that. There's a lot of people...
Well, we are the only ones that can reason, though.
Okay.
Do you marvel at our capacity to reason? And even the ability for mammals or reptiles to reproduce life, you don't see any intelligent design behind it.
None.
You just see it as
it's a consequence of...
See that guy standing while everyone else is kneeling? That's John.
That I disagree with. There's plenty.
Of natural selection and evolution over millions and millions of years.
So we both have faith.
Okay.
I would argue you have a lot more faith than I do. You have a lot more blind faith to believe that everything around you, love, joy, peace, sadness, is all just a construct of neurons firing in your brain.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
So do you believe that we are just limited to our five senses?
This is an argument that Frank Turk makes all of the time. I know he watches Frank Turk. It's a great argument. It's definitely one of the best arguments. If we're all just molecules and atoms banging together, how are we able to reason? How are we able to conduct reasoning? Like, that's a lot where the determinist argument comes in. A lot of determinists do not believe in God. They think everything is just predetermined, right? And some of them do. Some of them believe in God. Not all of them, but like a lot of them don't believe in God. They think everything's predetermined. But if everything's predetermined, how do we have the capacity to reason? That's a good question. It's a very good question.
No, I think even scientists said that there could be like a sixth sense of...
What is that sixth sense?
Like a sixth sense that can be aware of what's surrounding the body. That, like, I can know that there's another person next to me, or there's a microphone in front of me. I can sense that. I don't need to have my eyes... Oh, I could be blind and I could still know that was there. I mean, I didn't need... I use more than five senses. Scientists told us that for decades, that we have more.
What do you think happens when you die?
Nothing. Our electronic impulses just stop firing and
let me ask you the most important question. Okay. Do you hope you're wrong?
Not really. No, I mean, I've got...
So you don't desire an afterlife?
I consider this life, as an atheist, the more compelling than even when I was younger and when I was religious, because I think that this is the only life we have. We need to do with it what we can, the best that we can do it. And this, like I said, it's just the one chance we got. We don't have an afterlife. We don't have anything after that. So our goal is to become the best people that we can possibly be in that one chance that we get.
Okay, I understand that.
I will be stunned. So you hope that there's no eternal judgment and you never see your loved ones after you die?
No, not really.
I hope you all internalize just how dark that is, how sad that is. And it's fine, I'm not trying to criticize you. We as Christians have hope that we are going to see our loved ones again, and that we will be in heaven, and that we will be in perfect peace, and that this is not it. In fact, there's something even better awaiting us. So I hope one day that you do seek to find something higher and better, that this is not all for us in our existence. Thank you so much.
Fair enough, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, again, like it doesn't discredit the fact that the possibility could be that there is actually nothing. That sucks to think about, but there's a strong possibility of that. There's a big argument for that nothing's after this existence. And we can't ever prove it. It sucks, but that could possibly be. I would rather there be an afterlife. I would, I think you gotta have a lot of faith for both sides. I remember Pascal's argument was that if you just believe, then you'll find all the signs to believe in it. I really think that's that what's it called? Law of attraction type thing. It's like if you believe in something like hard enough, then it'll come to pass for you. But anyways, I'm out, y'all. Peace. Uh-oh.